Hi friends, this is what I look like today.
Hee hee, hee hee.
How are we? I realised that I can't turn my camera around on this phone, which is actually quite sad because I'd love to show you around a bit better. This is my happy place. And today I'd like to talk a little bit about boundaries. Now, someone once said, I think it was someone on Instagram that I saw, and he said, boundaries are expressed truths. If we are consistently expressing our truth, we have no need to assert a boundary because we've innately been truthful with ourselves and others. And sometimes when we are in need of discernment or awareness of how we can utilize our energy more effectively, the best thing to do is to start speaking how you're really feeling. First to yourself and then with other people. And not making it mean anything about them, not making it mean anything about you, not blaming, not shaming, not saying you're making me angry. No, saying I'm experiencing anger right now and I'm processing through something. Or making spaces and places available to you so that you can express these things in healthier ways, right? Because I think a lot of us waste a lot of time in relationships that don't necessarily serve for our highest good. And that's not because these people are bad or wrong, but it's because they have a karmic attachment from our heart, from our solar plexus actually. And it's our blessing to free ourselves and that other person of these attachments that no longer serve. So as we sit and reflect over a morning cuppa, I'd really like for us to just feel into how we can make life cleaner and more simple for ourselves. And for me, that sometimes looks like just clearing my diary, clearing my commitments, clearing the things that don't really feel good to me anymore, and allowing myself to recalibrate before engaging in that activity, that behavior, that adventure. There's a lot of eclipses happening, astrologically speaking, starting from yesterday. And I think it was yesterday, I don't know, I'm not very in with the astrology at the moment, but regardless, there's a lot of eclipses, I can feel it. And my intuition is telling me to be a bit more distant with people, not in a bad way, but more in a just allowing myself emotional and physical space to process through my own inner world, and allowing them the emotional space and physical space for them to do the same. I don't want to be a karmic player in their game, and I don't want anyone to be a karmic player in my game. You know, I've seen how hard that can be to overcome as well, you know, like just being more open to loneliness as a karmic cycle, embracing what that means about me or what I'm making it mean about me, and finding deep connection with self makes me realize how so many people live in a lack of presence with the people that they're with. The amount of times people are just overlaying onto the top of who I am, and I can see it so vividly, makes me realize how often I've probably done that, and how every single person doesn't really wait to receive who you are, but projects on top. They hear what they want to hear. They move through life without really hearing and listening, or even taking the time to reflect and consider that another thing could be true. And I've had to kind of distance myself from these projections right now, because for me it's quite a painful process to be so overlaid upon, and it also makes me quite wary of how I'm doing that myself. So I really need people in my life who are able to tell me and connect with me in that level, on that level. Because when I've said it in the past, for example, someone's kind of going at me and I've sort of said, I don't think you're really seeing me right now. I don't think we really know who each other are. I think this is an overlay. I think this is not true. This is not truth. This is not self right now. Someone yesterday made the implication that I was chasing outer wealth and frivolous things in life. And I sort of thought, okay, well, you're welcome to feel how you feel and project that upon me. But actually, the reason it hurt was because I spend pretty much 100% of my life in moving meditation and prayer, in my inner world, understanding and feeling into self as other as self. And I felt very misunderstood by someone who I felt could have known me better and with more depth than just assuming I was in it for, quote unquote, to gain the money, to gain the status, to gain the fame or whatever. And there's a part of my ego that actually uses that as fuel. You know, people want to make these assumptions, fine. Maybe there's an element of truth to them, maybe there's not, but it doesn't mean anything about me unless I make it mean that. I can take kind of inspiration, right? I can take inspiration from people's judgments of me and say, where in me is this still affecting who I am? Where am I limiting myself from this belief? Because if someone says it on the outside, it's because it's on the inside to be looked at, and the universe is giving us a really loving example of how we can integrate this aspect of ourselves that feels rejected, denied and disowned. So perhaps the invitation for me from the example I just used is to embrace the part of me that does want to make money, to feel security, to feel safety, to feel status, to feel safe in life, because it's something that I've really worked with and been up and down with in my relationship of. I was homeless in Mexico. I basically didn't even own shoes when I was living in Vietnam. I was washing my clothes in the ocean, you know, accepting fruit from strangers and kind people for helping them on their spiritual path and reading their tarot cards. And, you know, I've really lived 1,000 lives in this mere present life. People are very quick to judge, and I think that that makes me more aware of how perhaps I can judge less, how I can take the time to be curious with people and maybe assume that they have the experience and information that I am judging or have judged in the past. Being curious about where this judgment is coming from, where this pain comes from inside, you know. Sometimes the most painful thing we can do to someone is to isolate them and reject them and not speak to them ever again, but also sometimes that frees them. That frees them from the judgments and the overlays and the perceptions that we have of them, and vice versa, I'm sure, you know. To sometimes take that time away from people can really give us the perspective and clarity needed to fully respect them and their experiences and who they are. I love the birds. I feel like the invitation for us all over the next few weeks is to really be mindful and present with ourselves and allow the people around us the grace to experience their shit, overlay their shit, and not accept it, not play that role for someone just because they're throwing it at us. We get to choose. And I mean this from a very energetic place. My experience of life is a very energetic experience, and it wasn't until I really started getting clear and concise with my truth, with what was resonant for me, with honoring my word first and foremost, honoring who I'm being. It doesn't mean I'm perfect or that I get it right all the time, but that I'm really trying to honor, and I'm succeeding at honoring my own path and my own journey, my own honesty. Life gets so much clearer. Energy is so easy to read. It's so easy to feel what's mine and what isn't, to take responsibility for in that moment, right? Because nothing is anyone's, really. I think it's important we have spaces we can channel ourselves into. Important we can have spaces that we can be authentically ourselves. 11:11. Important we can see ourselves in others also. When we notice these behaviors, when we notice these challenges arise in people, how have we also experienced that challenge? How have we also been misunderstanding certain aspects of our reality or of others, of our own inner power to change things? And sometimes we can be really quick to judge someone based off of what they're sharing with us in that now moment, rather than reflecting on them as a whole being and allowing them the space and capacity to experience life without being judged for their now moment. And that's a practice I'm continuously using, to just have more space in my energy, have more space in my life between myself and the beings I love, between myself and my work, my projects, even YouTube, everything. Just having this space, this spaciousness to explore, to enjoy, to allow it to be a method of understanding self. And when we know thyself, we can share that, we can explore that with others. And it is my truest belief that in service to myself, I am in service to the whole, and in service to the whole, I am in service to myself. There is no separation between this. The more truth I can find and resonate with in my own reality, the deeper I can share that and hopefully touch people's hearts in a way that allows them to see they're not alone. Someone recently approached me to work on my YouTube with me, to make my algorithm better or something. And I will be looking into that. I'm sure that I'll learn the right things at the right time. And in this now moment, I'm really happy with the way things are, just allowing it to flow through, allowing myself to just pick up a camera and commit to something for myself and for service. And I know how much YouTube has changed my life. Like, the people I've seen exploring themselves in my darkest times, and how that's forever changed my game, how I'm relating to myself. I would love that for others, to be able to just, even if they only see a snippet of who I'm being, that changes their own perception of self and their own ability to have faith and hope and joy in their lives, that things change, people change, life is beautiful. Why not make the most of it while we can? And my favorite affirmation for this time on earth: I'm feeling more pleasure in my body. As I run, as I move, as I walk, as I eat, as I fast, as I sit in the garden and drink tea. So many people look at life from what they can get from you or get out of it, or how they can use you as a space to dump themselves. to escape themselves. And I think life truly begins when we can start looking at people as an opportunity to grow, as a catalyst for our truest self to take form. All unfolds in the perfect way. What if everyone entered our lives at exactly the right time? What if everything unfolded for us exactly when it was meant to? What if we could get out of our own way and out of our own heads of stories, of beliefs that things are as they are because I'm bad or wrong or this or that, or just a load of exhausting shit. But imagine if we spent all of the time, all of that energy spent going round and round and round in stories on a project, on learning an instrument, on learning Spanish or Vietnamese. Imagine the kind of people we would be if we actually utilised that energy like that. That's why I love devotional playtime. That's why I love creating devotional playtime for others to change their lives through doing and being and living prayer. Because actually, a lot of people have forgotten the sacredness of learning, of every skill, not just spirituality or spiritual practices, because everything is a spiritual practice. I really watched an interesting interview with an influencer who was saying she doesn't talk about her plant medicine journey because it's controversial, or she judged it at some point, and I was like, wow, imagine being that limited in your capacity to share things. I don't have that anymore. So it was kind of interesting. I mean, I know I was there once in my life, but it was really quite baffling to me to be like, wow, imagine not sharing something that profoundly changed your life just because you were scared of people judging you. I've been judged so much, it's almost just like bounces off. I suppose that's the joy of it, it's exposure therapy. If you spend your whole life trying to fit in, you never really get the resilience from people disliking you and saying mean things and judging you in a way that is just a reflection of their own inner insecurities and stories, and it actually means jack shit about who you are as a being or your experiences. And actually the people who really need to hear what you're saying, your authenticity, your deepness, can learn to love and appreciate you in a way in which you couldn't even fathom to be possible. And we miss out on all of that joy just from silly little naysayers and silly little thoughts about people judging me. Fuck them. People can't judge, people can't hate, people gonna think that you're something you ain't. That's just the way it is. And just them needing a shadow boxer for their shadows, for their darkness, and we don't have to play. Well, I think I'm complete. If you have any interest in learning more about devotional playtime, I have been posting a lot on my social medias, and you can reach out if you're interested. Say, I would love to know more, I would love to hear, I would love to apply for devotional playtime, because devotional playtime is a very deep process, and I need to make sure that we are both resonant with one another, that we can really bode well and work together on this revolution of play and love and devotion as a normal, as moving prayer becomes our reality. I'm so excited about it. We start April 1st. We have one beautiful woman in the space and me. So two beautiful women in the space. And I'm not in a place where I just need people to join. I'm really in a space where I want to make sure the right people benefit. And that's why I promote, that's why I share, because I know what I have to offer is really beautiful. And it is worth your time, it is worth your investment, and it's certainly worth investigating and seeing if we might resonate together for the experience. I wish you the most magic, miracle-filled day, and all unfolds in the perfect way. And so it is. Namaste.